Good morning, everybody, or good afternoon. We're delighted to welcome you to today's webinar on AI-enabled future fit finance. We'll be discussing about harnessing AI, data, and enterprise performance management to drive financial agility and smarter decisions. So your speakers on today's webinar is myself, John Lyons, ProStrategy's Practice Director for Analytics and Enterprise Performance Management, and I'm delighted to be joined by Shahrear Haider, who is a Senior Solution Consultant with Jedox, our partner for today's webinar. So just a little bit around, many people on the call will know who we are, but for those who are new, so ProStrategy are an Irish business, have been, this year we're celebrating 40 years being in business. We specialize in helping organizations transform and grow via technology-driven transformation. So very much around streamlining and automating processes, enhancing financial management, empowering decision makers with analytic insight and AI. We're a Microsoft certified data and AI partner and a Microsoft Business Applications partner. We're a Gold Jedox partner. And I'll just talk about Jedox in a moment. So we've a team of 70 people. We support over 250 customers. So on the right-hand side here, you'll see examples of companies where we have implemented management reporting, financial planning, and analytic solutions. So companies like ASL Airlines, Aer Lingus, Electroroute, State Street, CRH. So many of Ireland's largest customers, as well as plenty of mid-sized businesses as well. So recently we have partnered with Jedox in the enterprise performance management space. Jedox have been in business for 20 years and over the last number of years have really improved their platform, embedding lots of new capabilities, many of them driven by AI, but has been ranked by Gartner and Bark and many of the industry analysts as being a leader in this space. One of the reasons they're particularly attractive to ProStrategy, as we are a Microsoft partner, the Jedox solution is platformed on the Azure platform. So we're very familiar for us, and it also has a wonderful, intuitive, easy interface. But you will see a little bit of that shortly, and so here we'll take us through the solution. So I suppose if we just talk a little bit about the challenge that finance teams deal with, you know, the challenge many traditional finance functions are dealing with is the amount of time that it takes to collect data, prepare data, and then prepare whether it be management reports or plans, scenario analysis and forecasts. There is so much time in the data collection and preparation that there is a limited amount of time to actually produce the outputs, and then even less time available to do in-depth analysis and use the skills that the finance professionals have, both of knowing the businesses that you operate in, but you know the real added value. And I suppose ultimately what we will be looking at today is how Jedox and its AI capabilities can essentially flip that, I suppose, workload where the data collection and the data preparation is being automated and streamlined. So there is far less, I suppose, manual effort for the finance team in preparing all of that data, and focus much more of their time on preparing and validating that the reports, plans, forecasts are as accurate as they can be, and then to have more time available for really analyzing performance, doing things like scenario analysis, and really driving in depth to help business understand the impacts of the various decisions that are being made. So today, in the demo, what we'll have a brief introduction into Jedox, the platform. We will explain how data automation is enabled to essentially take away a lot of those bottom two sections of data collection, data preparation. You eliminate that manual effort using automation, and then spend much of the demo focusing on how AI can support production of management dashboards. I think the example that we're going to look at today is very much around the sales dashboard, how AI can support forecasting and enable sort of bottom-up strategic what-if analysis. So with that, I will hand you over to Shahrear, who will take us through the demo.
Thank you, John. I hope you can see my screen. Perfect. So in this section, we'll look at how you can transform your management reports, improve your forecast accuracy, and get further insights using AI. So with a tool like this, AI is embedded within the solution, which means that starting from data collection to data preparation and finally running prediction, all driven by AI. And the approach is we do have a lot of agents within the solution, such as reporting agents, knowledge agents. And the idea is it doesn't really matter who the user within the organization, we have agents for all of them supporting their needs. So in this section, I want to start by showing you an example of a management dashboard. So here, as an example, we'll be looking at a sales dashboard. So what you see within the sales dashboard is at the top, you have your filter section, and this is fully customizable. You can slice and dice data and look at all those relevant KPIs you're monitoring on a regular basis. So let's say in this case, we're looking at legal entity for a total group. I want to change it to UK, and I can see all those metrics gets dynamically changed. You can also see that this type of dashboard has a combination of KPI cards, so all those metrics you're looking at it on a regular basis, so which you're monitoring on a regular basis, and at the same time, for your comfort in terms of your visualization, combination of different formats, so whether it's a bar chart or any other charts. And you have the tabular views in the Office of Finance. All those finance users are very much looking data from a tabular view. So we are also looking at those requirements. So in this case, if you look at the bottom right report, here we're looking at 2025 forecast outrun. And here there's a combination of budget and any sort of forecast which you can see. And in terms of the data granularity, so in here, let's say we are looking at this budget from a top line, but I can go at any level I want to. So I can click in product group 6 and go all the way down, and I can see all those variances, and I can have a quick variance analysis from here. So this particular dashboard, the reason I wanted to show you guys this dashboard is we have embedded AI within this. So as a regular practice, what you do is when you're looking at, let's say, a dashboard like this, you want to analyze it, and maybe for management you have to run some executive summary. And what this system does in this case is looks at your data set and then helps you to create like an executive summary. So this could be like a starting point, and then you can maybe make certain changes depending on what you want to present to management, and then without very much effort, literally it's a matter of second where it creates an executive summary, and then with some changes you can produce a report like this, and you can submit that within your management board pack as an example. So here we did mention about forecasting. So John said, how we can help you with forecast accuracy. So here it's, let's see a little example. So in here we have comparison between budget and forecast. And here the forecast is 30 million. So let's see from where this particular number is coming from. So in this example, what we are doing is revenue forecast with some drivers. As you can see at the top, you have your units times price, which basically brings us the gross revenue. And we know that different business have different revenue stream and revenue model. This is just as an example to show you. We can customize or build reports which is relevant to your own business. So this is just as an example. But certain things which I want to focus more here is we talked about forecast accuracy. And one of the things which you can do using a solution like this is the system has business logic where you have version blending. So in here, we're focusing on 3+9, where the system is taking 3 months of actuals. And let's say you're in the month of April, you are forecasting for the remaining 9 months. And in order to improve your forecast accuracy, the system can automatically populate your actual values. And in here, you can see that I can't make any changes because these are actual values coming from, let's say, the source system from your ERP and so forth. And I'm forecasting for the remaining 9 months. Also, in terms of modeling capability, so here I'm modeling the data based on, say, different location, customers based in different location, or I can also do it based on product. And the way we did it is we established a link between the product and where the product gets sold by which customers in which region. And in that case, because of the parallel relationship between the customers and the product, you're not now forecasting at two levels. You can just forecast at one level, and based on the relationship, it automatically populates the values for the other level. So here, let's say we have 9 months, which we want to do a forecast. The system can help you start with a baseline. So this is, again, some examples, but here you're not manually keying in numbers or maybe copying data from different spreadsheets or different area. What you can do is you can have drivers like this where the system can pre-populate the values for you, where you can start to make adjustments. So in this case, let's say the budget which was done, I want to copy that value. And you can start to see that the values are getting populated from the top line, which is this amount. And you can see that for the number for all customers for the month of August is the same value and is the same value for the product. From here, you can start to make any changes. So let's say I want to increase this 4 months by 2% as an example. And you can see that the change will happen at this line, and this line, exactly the same thing. You can plan at any level you want to. Let's say if I go to product 1 and go to product group 6 and make some changes in June, as an example. Let's say I want to increase it by 5,000, let's say 5K, and I can see that amount populating instantly at the top. So it gives you a lot of flexibility, whatever level you want to do, whether you're forecasting at a top level or bottom up level, the system gives you that granular level of capability to plan at whatever level you want. Let's say we've made some adjustments, and sorry, one more point I wanted to add is throughout the process, and this is one of the things I always get asked by customers, is it audit trailed? So at all levels within all the cells, what you have is drill history capability. And when I click on that, depending on my access control, I have full visibility, who made what changes at what time, and everything is stamped, which is again quite powerful because you can track any changes that happens within your solution and so forth. So we've made some changes with number of units. The price is already there for me. I can make some changes, and then now I can see my gross revenue, which is 186 million. You can see that already we have brought a lot of ways to reduce manual effort for you by copying data with data validation, with using shortcuts. But now, since the topic is around AI, I want to show you how you can do the same thing with very little effort, which is purely driven by AI. In this case, what you see is in the back end, we have the machine learning AI assisted planning. What it does is it looks at your historical data, ideally a few years of historical data, looks at all those different seasonalities and runs multiple algorithms, as you can see on the right. And these are some of the algorithms which is powered by Microsoft Azure, runs all those algorithms. And for example, for the number of units, this particular method scored the highest, which is 96.41%. And I can also see my prediction based on, let's say, different bounds. So this is the prediction, but I have lower and upper bound. I can see that. Similarly, if I change it to the number of gross revenue, you can see that a different method was used. In here, this particular method scored the highest, and we would take that in this example. And again, it is done based on different levels. But what we see, and I'm trying to give examples of real life example of our customers, is customers are not fully relying on AI, but what they want is have that capability that they can use their own experience about the business and can make or overwrite what AI has done. So in this case, if I go to another screen, as you can see here, is we're doing forecasting adjustment for the number of units. The top line, which you see, is fully uh, predicted by the AI engine. But as a business, you have better understanding of the business, if there are any changes and so forth. And here, what I did is for the number of units in October, I increased it by 5K because I'm expecting some big orders and so forth. And you can see that automatically the system is giving you alert using AI that is above the bound, above the upper bound. Are you sure you want to make those changes? So what you can also do, let's say in the month of October, we know that the number of units would increase by 5K. And therefore, what you can also do is in order to bring collaboration with your extended team, you can add commentary. So in this case, let's say I want to add commentary saying big order for the month of October. And now when I hover over that particular warning, I can see that there's big order. So there's some commentary, which means that within your team, someone else who's looking at this particular report knows that they can read the commentary and they can know that, okay, so this particular adjustment was done on purpose. It was not a mistake. So you bring a lot of collaboration within your wider stakeholders to know exactly what you guys are doing, and that gives a lot of comfort that you guys are working together as a team. In this case, we're looking at forecast. The next thing which I wanted to show you is we did look at forecasting example at a lower level, but how you can use AI also for like strategic planning at a very high level when you want to create a situation where you are using external drivers, adding different initiative within your business and on the fly creating what if analysis using AI. So here, what we're doing is we're running some strategic planning for 2026. As baseline, I can use any option. So this is how we have set up. So you can use the actual from previous year operational plan, or you can just purely rely on AI. So in this case, I don't have any prediction value. All I can do is I can run the prediction and the system looks at all those historical data and now gives me a prediction value. So what sort of data, external data it is looking at? So here I can jump to this another screen. And basically in this particular screen, these are some of the external drivers which we have incorporated when we did some strategic planning. So I can see that FX rates has a relationship between revenue. When I change to commodity price, I can see that there is some relationship with commodity price as one of the drivers. But let's say if I use another driver, which is trade promotion, it is very clear that it hardly has any sort of implication with revenue. So the system using AI also supports you to have a better understanding of all your drivers. So in this case, let's say we stick with this particular prediction and start to create different scenarios. In this case, we're creating 3 scenarios and we can add different initiatives. Let's say new account as best, maximizing order value as best situation, and shortage in supply chain as worst. And I can instantly see how my P&L looks like side by side with different scenarios. With your data, you can slice and dice at any levels as you want. So in this case, let's say for the strategic planning, I want to view it based on legal entity. All I do is drill by and select what ways I want to look at my data. So in this case, I want to look at my legal entity, and this is legal entity 11. Now, what you're doing is now, when I click on the Jedox AI, I'm talking to the reporting agent, and I can use natural language to write prompts and to do further analysis of my data. Let's say, show me all legal entities. Is the spelling correct? And what the reporting agent does is looks at my data and then with natural language analyzes what I'm trying to ask and what I'm looking for, and in the back end starts to produce a new report. In this case, I can see all my legal entities in one place. I can start to add further analysis. Let's say compare with best case. And now the reporting agent using my prompt is starting to produce different reports for me. I can also click on say summarize, and then I can very quickly get a summary of what I'm looking at. And the idea is with the reporting agent, you don't have to be an expert in terms of where the data is. You can start to use with natural language and start to have a deeper understanding of your data. So within the solution, this is one of the agents. We have multiple agents, such as the knowledge agent, which basically does if you have any sort of question, you can ask how to create a dashboard, and it will guide you through to the user to build how to build a dashboard. Another thing which I wanted to very quickly show in the interest of time is we did talk about the external drivers and how we are building a digital business twin where the business is integrated, and sales is talking to finance is talking to HR. Everything is connected in one place so that you have a single version of truth. But it is quite important that how you are automating or how you're bringing data from multiple source system. We bring a lot of automation, and this is an example of integration with Microsoft D365. So what you have on the left, these are some of the pre-built connectors, so connecting with SAP, Microsoft, any system, whether it's ERP, CRM, BI tools, and so forth. With those pre-built connector, we can instantly connect Jedox to that particular source system, which means that you're not spending time and effort to build different APIs and so forth. The middle section is within the ETL, which is the transformation section, and within the system, we transform your data. So when the data is coming from, let's say D365, it has to be cleansed. It has to be transformed as such that the data is readable within Jedox. So that is done within the Jedox integrator, as you see, within the transformation. And in terms of the data load, the full process can be automated. So you can define when you want your data to be refreshed. You can set certain time of the day or week and so forth, and you have full control when the data gets updated. And we also have, it's in the roadmap, we haven't launched it yet, but I think in next release, we'll also have the integration agent, which basically does this transformation automatically for you. So again, it helps, let's say, especially in the topic of integration, it's maybe IT people who does all these things. And, we also bring a lot of innovation there as well. So at a very high level, what we looked at is to conclude what we saw today. AI is embedded in your solution, whether you're doing further analysis using Jedox AI or running driver-based prediction. So what we have is with the AI agentic approach, every user within your organization will benefit and perform their responsibility more efficiently, thus saving a lot of valuable time. So with Jedox and ProStrategy together, we are here to help you to achieve your business goals. So thank you so much for listening. I think, let me pass it to John. John, I think you're on mute.
Sorry. Yep. That's great, Shahrear. Thank you very much. That was a great tour of high-level tour of the Jedox platform and how AI is really embedded in the solution and can assist throughout the entire process of integrating the data, preparing the data, and then ultimately creating faster and better insights. So we are open for questions. My colleague Miriam Maguire is hosting the platform for us today, so she can tell us if any questions have come through, and we'd be delighted to answer any.
Hi, everyone. Let's start with one or two questions. How much historical data do we need for the AI model to perform well?
So typically we would look for at least 2 to 3 years. The more historic data, the more accurate it'll be. But if we have 2 to 3 years, that's a good place to start.
Okay, great. Just so everybody knows, there is a Q&A box. If you have any questions, you can put them in there, or you can drop us an email afterwards. Could you also explain in simple terms how AI forecasting works in Jedox? Probably for you, Shahrear.
Yeah, no problem. So in this session, what we looked at two types of AI prediction. So the first one, when we looked at the forecasting piece, we looked at time series and what John was mentioning about historical data. So with time series, the way it works is ideally more data we have is better. And here we're only looking at historical data with seasonalities. So any sort of changes that happens, and the system runs all those algorithms. The second one, which we looked at, which was the driver-based prediction. So here you're adding additional layers to your prediction. You're using external drivers, let's say inflation as an example, interest rate as an example, within your prediction. So when you're running those prediction, and from there, it's giving you those prediction values. So there are two ways you can do it.
Okay, great. So just a quick one in. Could we show the screen again that shows the integration options for Business Twin?
Yeah, absolutely. You can see my screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is an example just to, again, add here, this is just as an example for D365. So different integrations, so the look and feel would be different. If I'm doing let's say, integration with a data warehouse as an example, or SAP, so the transformation would be different. It would be looking at different tables and different fields. So this is just as an example, one of the projects which we did for D365. That was how the transformation looked like.
Thanks, Shahrear. Hope that answers your question, Neville. So let's see. Another question, can AI help identify the drivers that impact our forecast the most?
Yes. So the way it works is with the driver-based prediction, the second option which we mentioned, not only you're adding drivers, but the system, the AI, also helps you analyze those drivers. So if you remember in one of those screens, we looked at trade promotion, which had no relationship with revenue, whereas we looked at commodity price had relationship. So the system can analyze those information as well. I think one point which I also want to mention is in terms of data preparation. So John mentioned about having historical data. So first of all, we need to have good quality data. And that's a starting point. But then sometimes there's issues, there are gaps within the data. So the AI can also fill in those gaps. So when there are some outliers using multiple predictions, it can also fill up those gaps as well. So that's another way the AI can be used.
Great. Another question we've in with most predictive models, the past is not always a good predictor for future, say, abnormal events. Would the AI model compensate for this?
This is a very good question, and I think this is a challenge for everyone. That especially COVID is a prime example. We didn't expect that, and something happened, and the prediction is completely wrong. I think the way we do it is within the prediction, when you're running those predictions, you also have that capability to make any adjustments. So when you're looking at historical data, and if you make some adjustments with your historical data and then run it, then you would get a bit more accuracy. But yes, so there's also that us as based on our experience, we need to make certain adjustments. So we cannot always fully rely on historical data, especially when there's some special circumstances.
Great, thanks, Shahrear. And thanks, Niall, for your question. We have another kind of a comment and a question from Ian. To double check, at a basic level, this is a platform for ingesting, transforming, and visualizing data, but with the ability to amend the data and the AI functionality. So that's a question. And can the reporting be customized or built from scratch by the business alongside the standard ones? Are they only built by Jedox?
Yeah. So could you the first question I wasn't too sure about the first question. If you could because there was quite a few statements, so I wasn't too sure.
Of course. So at a basic level, is this a platform for ingesting, transforming, and visualizing data, both with the ability to amend the data and the AI functionality?
Right. Okay. So let me take the first one. So basically, Jedox is a planning tool, planning and for FP&A tool, so planning and forecasting tool. So in terms of the data integration cover, the area which we covered, it was more around the flexibility to pull data from any source systems and so forth. So the idea is you are using Jedox to do your planning, your forecasting, your budgeting, completely amendable, like you said, so you can make adjustments and you do all your planning in this platform. AI is on top of that. So with your planning, your forecasting, you can also embed AI, which basically using different AI agents, reporting agent, knowledge agent, and so forth. It enhances your experience and gives you a bit more free time to focus on more strategic options rather than doing nitty-gritty fact-finding exercise. So the idea is Jedox, yes, does the integration as well, ETL, transform, and load, but predominantly it is an FP&A tool, which is planning, forecasting, budgeting, analysis. And I think the second question, sorry, I remember the second question is about what you saw today. It was just as an example. So I showed some of the pre-built template, but very often there are two approaches in terms of how Jedox gets implemented. One being if some of the pre-built content is already very similar to the requirement of the customer, then we use those pre-built content and do further customization. But you can also do from scratch. If your business is completely unique and those pre-built model doesn't fit, you can start from scratch. So we create that model right from from scratch, create those customized report, what is relevant for the business, the way you're monitoring a business. We can fully build based on that. And also, I think the point in terms of the flexibility, building those reports. So the backend, what you saw, backend is very similar to Excel. So you have a combination of all those Excel knowledge which you have, like VLOOKUP, all those formulas you have. The look and feel is also very much like Excel, the backend. And on top of that, you have your Jedox, OLAP formulas and functions and so forth. And building dashboards and reports, what we have is something called Canvas, which is no code and drag and drop. You drag your KPI, you create your chart, and you build a dashboard or report the way you looked at it. And since there is no code involved, the idea is business users will be able to build this sort of dashboard. So you wouldn't be relying on IT support or third-party consultants to build those reports. So yeah, it is very user-friendly.
Great. Thanks, Shahrear. I'm conscious of time, but we might just wrap up with one or two more questions. So does Jedox AI come free with the solution? And how are Jedox customers using AI in their business?
So maybe if I take the first question there. So yes, the AI capabilities that we would have seen today, like the reporting assistant and the knowledge agent, are integral in all, I suppose, of the packages of Jedox. Some of the more advanced AI is in some of the professional versions. So if anybody on this call was interested in using the capability, obviously we would be providing the appropriate license that includes everything.
Yeah. And I think the second question is it depends. So different customers are using different use case with AI. Sometimes they're using AI to get the top down at a top down level, so getting the top level, and from there they're planning using those AI as a baseline. Sometimes they're using AI to establish bottom level numbers. Sometimes companies are using for like prices, looking at external drivers, and come up with different strategic planning. So there are many use case our companies, our customers are using AI for.
Great. Thanks, Shahrear. That's it for the questions, I think, for the moment. So, guys, I'll let you, John, wrap things up.
Yeah. So, sure. Thank you very much for giving us a great demo. Miriam, thanks for organising and hosting the session today. For everybody who's, we will send out a link to the recording from in the next day or so, so people will have the access to the recording. If anybody is interested in having a discovery call to discuss your own particular environment, please just drop us a note, drop us to Miriam through the Q&A that's open at the moment. Just say you're interested in having a call and we could get that lined up. And obviously when we send out the link, you can just respond to that link and tell us that you'd like to have a session. So I hope everybody found the session useful and look forward to talking to some of you in the coming weeks.
Yeah. Thank you.